Sí. A las 2:30 comienza Bernabé. A las 2:30 comienza Bernabé. Bueno, ahorita vamos a hacer
We're going to continue with our question and answer session regarding Module 3. And we have a question from Lester for Arlene's presentation.
Good afternoon. I'd just like to comment that the presentation was very graphically intensive and enlightening. And I want to mention too that the company that I represent, it has just started market intelligence. Just started market intelligence, but we don't have an MIS system. We would collect data and analyze it a little. We'd also post it to the internet, but just like using like Excel just to inform the public or farmers, etc. The information that you gave was very valuable in that in my country we import about 98% of the food that we consume, and that's about $500 million worth of foodstuff per year. And so the market intelligence is so very, very important. And so I wanted to find out in terms of balancing import with the locally grown stuff. I mean, how is it balanced? Because we are way out of balance in terms of what we import from the United States due to our proximity, such that our farmers are really taking a beating, because when they bring their goods to the market, there's a saturation already because of the imports, and so their stuff they get just the lower price. Their stuff is on the market to rot, and I just want to ask the question about balance. If you experience that, or what kind of advice would you give?
Bueno, en realidad, yes, the situation is similar to Costa Rica's. The last president we had, he promoted the National Food Plan, which resulted from the crisis that arose, the FAO crisis alert. And this motivated the agricultural sector to promote this food plan. So we try to work closer with producers as a result. One of the goals that was established was to increase the production area for maize, for beans, for rice, given the fact that we depend on imports for these products. I would say that we've been able to achieve this goal with rice, where 50% of the consumption was imported, and now we've reached 60%. Nevertheless, there are other problems that have arisen, which is what is occurring. What I explained, there's an increase in production, but we don't have enough storage capacity for the grain, and it's another type of measure that we have to try to establish to resolve this issue. Regarding maize and bean, well, we did increase the planting area by 5% because we have the problem that you presented, that you mentioned, that import products enter at lower prices. And we can't close imports. If they comply with all quality requirements and the phytosanitary requirements, what can we do? So the only what we have left to do is to promote this law that we mentioned, where we can't establish a subsidy because we know that we are going against all of the WTO agreements. But an alternative can be this can be an alternative to motivate importers or industry purchasers to buy the national product. So in your country, in your area where the national production is a very low percentage of what is consumed, I would suggest that the industry purchase the national production because they would have to sacrifice very little in terms of price than compared to Costa Rica, because right now the industry purchasers say that for them to pay the excess price to the national producer with regards to the price that they pay for the Chinese product, for example, the amount of the supply shortage, they will be able to, that should be 3 to 1, that they would be able to import. For example, if they buy 10,000 tons, the import should be 30,000. So for it to be profitable, given the price differential. So these are aspects that are being analyzed because 3,000 tons would saturate the market. And we're going to have pressure from the opposite case occurring with pressure from producers. But since your percentage is lower than what you consume, you could work with other programs to incentivize and motivate planting tied with other alternatives for the national producer to sell it and not harvest the product and not have a buyer. So I would suggest negotiating beforehand to motivate the industry at meetings to purchase the entire crop, the harvest. Every week the vice minister meets with the sector, and we don't have this mechanism with potato and onions, but the vice minister meets with the producers to motivate them, with the industry, to motivate them to purchase the national production, just by talking to them, by saying that it would be social responsibility doing this. Any other questions for Eileen? No questions?
He meets every week. He meets every week with that's a lot of work the guy is doing. Every week. Guy is a hardworking guy.
Por supuesto, es una mujer. Lo que pasa es que ella...
It's a vice minister. She's a woman. This is done when especially when we're going through the harvest periods, through critical periods. So she's met with the bean producers week to week, especially with potato and onions. She meets 1 week with the potato growers and 1 week with the onion growers. So she does meet with the sector every week.
Aquí hay, bueno, la agricultura.
Agriculture here is in the hands of women. It's one minister with 2 vice ministers. They're all women. So women can multitask. Remember that.
Bueno, si no existe pregunta.
If you have no further questions for Arlene, let's now answer some other questions that were left for module number 2, which was information gathering of data and control of data. Charlie, you had a question?
¿La hizo? Okay. Mauricio.
Module 2 was recollection of data and quality control. My question was directed at the fact that our markets differ to the extent that our work methodology is also different. It differs from one market to the next, from one country to the next, especially our market intelligence. I was mentioning to him what he thought about the clandestine work that's done, or undercover work, with the fact that the government imposes taxes, and the business people are not very friendly when you arrive, and knowing that the market, how can I say it, that there are few businessmen who have, or women who have higher education. These are empirical business people without any schooling, most of all. So it's difficult to just go up to them and speak to them about the importance of our work, of gathering data, and raise awareness that their information is going to be a tool that they can use also to grow within their daily production. So we work undercover, especially for gathering information, and this is accompanied by those who are very knowledgeable in market, and for example, market specialists. In Managua, the eastern side of the country, information is gathered in a clandestine manner. In the eastern province, and the eastern market, and we deal with sources that especially know what we're doing exactly, so they know the regional market. So I asked him what he thought about undercover work, if it was correct or incorrect to do it in this manner, or if it depends on the type of market that we're trying to reach or work with. It's not a very orderly market, but it's just the way that we've it's the way that we thought that was the best way to obtain the real price. Because in the past, whenever we arrived, we would take one day we would take a snapshot. If we arrived the next day, the price would change drastically. That was our prior experience, and maybe our prices in Managua aren't the same as my other market reporter. So that depends on the day when we ask for this market snapshot, for example. Arlene, can you help us with the situation?
It's a little bit difficult, Mauricio, to tell you that it's a bad thing. You need to do your work and you find ways of doing it. However, in the long run, it's not a good idea. First, you're not giving credit to your organization. Doing something clandestinely doesn't seem like correct to me. You're not really getting the picture, or you're really not doing a good investigation, in the sense that if you do it clandestinely, you are just listening to a transaction, and it's just one transaction. And each of these customers or informers, they have hundreds of such transactions. Yes, when you do it clandestinely, you are taking a picture. It's just one shot at that particular moment in time at that particular place. And that is not an investigation. That's a price taking of one event. However, as I explained to you yesterday, maybe the commerce or the market started working at midnight. You get there about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. There have been a lot of transactions. You teach your informer how to give you the information, and he is already doing part of your investigation and so on. They have hundreds of transactions that already have taken place, and you get a better picture. You get a better set of data. But if you're doing clandestinely, if you don't have any other method, it's better than nothing. However, I can really bet my life on it that you're really not getting an accurate sense of what the market is doing. I would not recommend it to do that way. I would rather start doing it with those who cooperate with you, the few, and knowing that you will have a better indication maybe of what the price is in the market. And then once you start working with those few, you do a really good job, you start working with the other people, try to convince one at a time, not all at the same time. For example, yesterday I mentioned something about a resource binder. And what does a resource binder has? Has information like, for example, of all your informants. You have something that you will call a confidential report, in which you will have all the informants that you cover. Then you will know when to go, what time you go there, what products that he sells, what's his daughter's birthday, things that you keep confidentially. Probably all of you heard about WikiLeaks, and these were confidential reports that we do all the time for us to work internally. Some stupid guy leaked them, but then you hear stuff that you shouldn't be hearing. But this type of information, you keep it in the resource binder. You keep information as to what if somebody has to come and do the market the next day, and you cannot come in. He will go to your resource binder, read all the information you have there, and you'll get a better idea of how to cover that market. But going clandestinely, two things. I don't think you are doing a good, you are not being honest with your institution. Your institution, yeah, they might have bad ideas about the government and so, but it is your job as a reporter to convince them, no matter how difficult it is. I said yesterday that you should be able to take rejection. And, sometimes I call people 50 times, and at the 651 they'll say, shit, you must really, sorry about the word, you must really want to do this job. And then you find out a lot of things. You find out maybe which way you could talk to him, which information he needs, or something, but you don't give up. And I'm telling you, if you do this every day, constantly, you will get cooperation. You have to explain what it is for. You just don't go and take information. And in one of the presentations, one of the slides yesterday, I did mention that you have to give back value to your customer or to the informer. And once you give them value back, they will really go out of their way to help you out, because at the end of the day, it's about making a buck. So, in a sense, if that's the only way you have to do your job, do it that way, but it should not be a pattern that you should keep forever, because I'm sure that your set of data is not going to be really good or not accurate, and so you will have some weaknesses.
¿Alguna otra pregunta? Víctor.
Dr. Palmer, you mentioned that to the extent possible, you have to research prices for all products on the market. Were you referring to where they come from, which is an important variant? The packaging, that's another aspect. So if we add these different characteristics, we would have many types of references for one product. We would have to go, would we identify the product that is sold the most and follow up on it? Or how do you suggest we do what you suggest?
no matter how much you have, it's not enough. There is always somebody who's going to use it, and you don't even know ways how this information is going to be used. So it is recommended to me, it is recommended to do as much detailed job that you could do so you can differentiate these products. Why should you castigate a product that brings more in a market from one region compared to the other? For example, I don't know what example I could use, but if you have two producing regions of potatoes, of the same potato, and one region, the potatoes are a little nicer and so on, have a premium price, why shouldn't you say that? The potatoes from Cartago have a higher price than the potatoes from San Carlos, to say something. That's an incentive, and the grower from San Carlos should know that his potatoes receive more, and then maybe he has a better packaging, and that gives him a better price. The more you can differentiate a product, the better you are when you're doing analysis and this type of stuff, and the better decisions you could make. So I know it's difficult. I know that I guess sometimes I see reporters around the world and I feel compared to how we used to do the job, they're kind of lazy. And we do the investigation the same amount of time, and we have huge amounts of people. Yes, things are kind of easier for us because all of the stuff are in the packaging and the sizes and the grades and all of that, but we do in a report 700 bits of information of products, and in those we have variety, size, color, quality, origin, etc. And you can look at our portal and you go across and there are 17, 18 variables, but it can be done. It can be done. And in a sense, the more detail you do and if you show value to the product, those who are producing better will strive to produce better and to get a better, let's take a crop, for example. And if I sell a crop with mixed sizes, colors, quality, and all that, I will receive probably the price of the crop which has the least value. But if I grade the crop, separate it into sizes, quality, and so on, I will get more value out of the crop. There will be stuff that I cannot sell, but that will be very little. But you get more value out of the crop once you do that. So it is very difficult. I know the budgets are really bad around our market information systems, but we have been used to just getting a couple of things: first, quality, this size, and price. This origin, national or international. It would be nice to know if an apple is not just imported, if it's from New Zealand, or if it's from Chile, or if it's from Argentina, or if it's from the US or Canada. That's better information for the Canadians, for the Chileans, for the New Zealandese, or whatever you call them, for them to make decisions. And I'm sure, depending on the time of the year that this is sold, you will see differences in prices, because there are differences in prices because of origin, sizes, and varieties, and all of that. Once you're lumping everything, it's just like to say all Costa Ricans are cute. No, there are ugly ones too. So that's a stupid example, but it's an example. You cannot lump everything together. All apples do not have the same price. It's kind of like that. So I'll say it's a tough thing. You should strive to do that, but you don't have to do it all at once. Just try to go little by little. And what you, as a manager, what you need to say to your reporters is, think of who are you trying to help. Think of the importance of what you're doing, and think of ways in which you could cover more to give these guys more information so they can make better decisions. And, if you just did, for example, if you guys started next week and instead of saying exported or imported products and you start putting the country of origin, at least that, then in 3 or 4 months you can start doing some other things, sizes, and so on. Little by little you can go, and you will see that they will not even think that they are doing more work. It's the same question, you just have to pay a little bit more attention. And a lot of this stuff, especially the imported stuff, is already written on the boxes. From Chile, they are really good. New Zealand, Canada, the US, if you import those things, all of the qualities of the product are on the boxes. You just take that, and we will see tomorrow, maybe, hopefully, some of the apples, and you will see that all the information is there, and you just go and ask the guy what it's all for, and just teach him to give you what his range of sales were, and so on. So I hope that helps.
Gracias, Enid. Yo tengo una rápida pregunta.
Thank you, Enid. I have a quick question for Fernando. In the U.S., in your market information system, together with the data collection, to the data collection role, what percentage of your budget do you allocate to this role? And maybe my other colleagues from the other market information systems can give me that information to make a comparison. From the administrative point of view, what percentage of the budget is allocated? I have another question, but maybe I will leave it for later. Thank you.
Before we had more people in our system, we had a lot of guys that did data entry, and they covered information about shipments and so on. And we did away with a lot of them. We automized a lot of our systems so we could eliminate a lot of dead weight, I called it, that they just input data, did reports that we don't do. And so by using technology, we have eliminated a lot of the cost of that. Now, our budget in market news, fruits and vegetables, is $6 million, and for just fruits and vegetables, for all the market news services in the U.S. is $30 to $33 million, maybe up to $36 million. And in market news, 87% is done for paying reporters, which is data collection. 87% of the salaries. So you can see the emphasis that we give. And we don't analyze, we are basically data collectors, but 87% of the budget is for salaries for the market reporters.
Bueno, si llegara a existir alguna...
Well, if there were any more questions, you can make your questions at the end of the day. And now, I would like to begin Module 4. On dissemination of market information and the customer relations, and we will give the floor to Mr. Bernabe Tapia to begin his presentations. This presentation is made up of 2 parts, and Bernabe will give both parts, one after the other. And the first one is dissemination of market information and social networks. We have time until 4 to listen to the presentations, and then we'll go to a brief break. Well, I will make both presentations right after the other. The first one is about the dissemination of information and the use of social networks. To begin, I would like to give you a brief background on the information system to see what products we have and how we disseminate these products through different channels. As you may know, not all channels are suitable for all products. Chile is a very long country, and it has different harvest seasons, different conditions, and that influences our information system and the way we disseminate the information. The main production area is in the central area, that is the export and sold, and the southern area is where we grow cereals. Most of the producers are in the central area, and since we have most of the producers here, that is where we have the largest number of users of our information. As you may know, the size of a country not only influences the way we collect data, but also the way we disseminate this data. Here you can see a graph of our country and surface area. The purple area is the forest area. And as you can see, agriculture is concentrated in the central area. In our country, a good deal of our agriculture is directed to export. We have a significant increase, and we now have differentiated products, the primary and secondary products, and that also influences the information we generate, because as you may know, our customers from the private and the public sectors require a good deal of information from in the international markets. And this has been the driving force of agriculture. Many times the local market we have less demand from local markets. But, for example, vegetable producers for the local market, because we import very little amounts of vegetable, they require information about on the local market. But fruit producers require more information from international markets. Here you can see the different countries with which Chile has signed trade agreements, bilateral or multilateral trade agreements. We have agreements with a large number of countries, and this facilitates access of our products to external markets. And these are the markets that we need to get information from to make it available to our producers and to our decision makers in the public and private sectors. Very briefly, this is a flowchart of the Ministry of Agriculture. You can see we have different agencies, but the only one in charge of providing information is ODEPA, the Office for Agricultural Studies and Policies. We advise public and private authorities and provide them market information. These are the roles of ODEPA. It's basically the same roles as every other information system. We maintain and supply regional, national, and international information, and advise the ministry, and as well as the private sector.
Pegar información al sector privado y asesorar al sector público en las decisiones. Dentro de ODEPA tiene su estructura con departamentos de apoyo y departamentos del negocio mismo, que son el Departamento de Información Agraria,
que es el departamento que genera los datos. Aquí están los reporteros de mercado y todas las personas que están a cargo de generar la información. Y también tenemos la tarea de difundir esta información. Está el departamento de políticas, que están fundamentalmente los analistas, los especialistas por rubro, que se apoyan con nuestra información, trabajamos muy de la mano. Ellos se apoyan con nuestra información, generan artículos de análisis, prospección, los cuales son publicados a través del departamento de información, que tenemos a cargo la mantención de la página web, los documentos impresos y todas las formas de difusión. Y además se generan minutas internas directamente a la dirección o al ministro. Muchas de estas minutas internas últimamente hemos estado en una tarea de que se transformen también en productos publicables. Como ustedes sabrán, y todos los que estamos aquí, trabajamos mucho para las autoridades, generamos documentos internos, y nosotros hemos estado haciendo un esfuerzo de que esos documentos internos, una vez que se envían al ministro y cumplen su función, pasan a un comité editor, se saca lo que no es publicable o lo que es más arriesgado de publicar, y se convierten en productos publicables. La idea es transformar todos los productos que se generan en información para publicable. Bueno, en el Departamento de Información y Radio, como les dije, se generan los datos, recopilamos, generamos, difundimos información actualizada. Además, proponemos, diseñamos y mantenemos los sistemas, los servicios de información, todos los sistemas computacionales que mantienen nuestras bases de datos y, además, los sistemas que difunden la información. Al igual que nos explicó nuestra compañera Blanca hace un rato, nosotros tuvimos, el año pasado también certificamos, el proceso se llama de producción estadística, que es la elaboración de los datos. Esta es uno de los productos de esta certificación, que como bien dijo Blanca anteriormente, llevar la norma ISO, adoptar la norma ISO, y la utilidad más grande que tiene fue justamente que uno tiene que documentar y dejar muy claro todo lo que está haciendo. Y aparecen cosas que no estaban muy claras, se clarifican. Hicimos por primera vez una lista completa y exhaustiva de todos los productos estadísticos que nosotros generamos, que son más de los que uno maneja muchas veces. Cuando los lleva a papel se da cuenta de todo lo que hace. Y este es un diagrama sintético de la producción estadística. Como siempre, la norma ISO todo parte por los requerimientos de los clientes y termina con la satisfacción de los clientes. Y en medio está la planificación, la captura de datos, que nosotros la dividimos en tres. Captura primaria, que son los datos de terreno, los que uno levanta del terreno mismo. La secundaria, que son los datos que uno recopila de otros agentes y que trata de mantener al día y informar a sus clientes de esos datos. Y una primaria externalizada, que le llamamos, que son datos como el censo, por ejemplo, y estadísticas del catastro frutícola que hacemos en Chile, y de las estadísticas de los cultivos anuales, que son datos, o sea, proyectos que levantan otras agencias, uno es el Instituto Nacional de Estadística, otro es un Centro de Información de Recursos Naturales, y que son programas grandes que nosotros no ejecutamos directamente. Es información privada, pero que nosotros contratamos a otros servicios que la levantan. Todo eso va a la publicación estadística, y también hay una evaluación de las mismas, que todos los requisitos de la norma ISO es que tú estés evaluando y chequeando con tus clientes permanentemente la satisfacción de los productos que se transforman en mejoras que van a la planificación. Y este es un círculo que da vuelta permanentemente. Bueno, como expliqué recién, son las fuentes primarias, secundarias y la primaria externalizada, nuestros datos, los datos que nosotros recopilamos. En la fuente primaria están todos los datos que están primero, la que ocupan más trabajo, como todos los sistemas acá, y más dinero, es la recopilación diaria que hacemos nosotros también en mercados mayoristas, de precios y volúmenes diarios arribados a los mercados mayoristas. También tenemos precios de flores, precios y volúmenes de ganado, cortes de carne bovina en frigorífico, recepción de leche en plantas lecheras, precio de productos avícolas, precio consumidor, que comenzamos a levantarlo el año 2008. Lo comenzamos a levantar porque el Instituto Nacional de Estadística lo hacía antes y luego dejó de hacerlo, empezó a publicar solo índices, y nos vimos la necesidad de generar precios, que era una demanda permanente, y empezamos a tomar precios de consumidor. Hortofrutícola en ferias libres y supermercados, carnes en carnicería y supermercados, pan en panadería y supermercados, arroz, productos lácteos, y hay bastantes productos más esperando a que podamos tener los recursos para ir tomando. Y también precios de insumos, que también hemos ido haciendo un esfuerzo por mejorar esa lista de productos y también de cobertura regional. Esta captura, como ustedes sabrán, es la más cara y la más difícil, la que ocupa más tiempo hacer, que es la captura primaria de datos. Captura secundaria, tenemos muchos datos que, para no replicar esfuerzo en el ministerio, hay otras agencias que los toman por diversos motivos, y nosotros conversamos con ellos, tenemos trabajo de colaboración, de manera de transformar esos registros, que muchas veces son administrativos, como los servicios que están encargados de la sanidad, transformarlos en datos estadísticos. Y así tenemos, por ejemplo, un catastro de vides que lo hace el Servicio Agrícola y Ganadero, plantaciones forestales que lo hace el Instituto Forestal, beneficio de aves de ganado en general que lo hace el INE, tomamos precios internacionales del USA, venta física de un organismo que del Fomento Fabril, que son un organismo de la industria, digamos. Banco Central, Superintendencia de Banco, hay esfuerzos de secretarías regionales de tomar algunos precios específicos como los vinos, los precios de los vinos que hacen en el Maule, una región que es vitivinícola. Tenemos algunas fuentes de precios internacionales como Reuters y otras agencias más. La base de datos de comercio exterior, que lo hace el Servicio Nacional de Aduana en Chile, pero nos transfiere la base de datos en forma diaria, por un mecanismo automático, nos transfiere la base de datos y nosotros con eso generamos los reportes del sector. Precios de fertilizantes con revistas internacionales del medio, y otros precios minoristas que se levantan a nivel de secretarías regionales del ministerio. Estos datos son secundarios, nosotros nos encargamos de tomarlo de la fuente y mantenerlo en nuestro registro y en nuestra información disponible a nuestro usuario. Y la primaria externalizada, que como les contaba, son proyectos en general que los financiamos nosotros y lo ejecutan otras agencias. Son proyectos caros, que son catastros, son muestras grandes de agricultores que se hacen 1 o 2 veces al año, que es fundamentalmente información de superficie y producción de distintos cultivos. Bueno, esa es nuestra batería de datos. Y con todo eso, como mencionó el señor Ospina en la mañana, son datos, ¿no? Y hay que transformarlo en reporte y transformarlo en información. Y ahí tenemos distintos usuarios. Hay muchos usuarios, sobre todo usuarios académicos u otros analistas externos, que a ellos les sirve, lo que más les sirve es el dato crudo. Porque ellos lo toman y lo analizan, hacen sus gráficos, ellos son demandantes tradicionales nuestros, son quizás los usuarios más estables que tenemos, pero hay mucha gente como los agricultores que necesitan un dato procesado, necesitan un comentario, necesitan un análisis, proyecciones, y nosotros tomamos estos datos crudos y los transformamos en eso. Entonces generamos estadísticas, que es el dato más crudo, documentos de análisis, y también tenemos noticias que son cortas, son breves anuncios cortos de sucesos que son importantes para el sector. Y todo esto lo difundimos a través de diversos medios. Yo cuando llegué a ODEPA el año 97, la web estaba recién empezando. La web de ODEPA en esa época era institucional. Salía que lo que era ODEPA, a lo sumo había algún gráfico, algún dato, pero era más que nada institucional. Y de a poco se fue transformando en un medio a medida que Internet se fue masificando. Y en esa época se hacían muchos impresos. Había una biblioteca que yo me acuerdo cuando estudiante también, iba a la biblioteca y uno escribía a mano, fotocopiaba los datos, unos libros gigantescos, y la biblioteca estaba llena, tenía un gran espacio de atención. Y eso con el tiempo se ha ido reduciendo. La web ha ido creciendo, y finalmente hoy en la actualidad todo lo que nosotros hacemos va a la web, todo. Y la web es un medio ideal para disponer todo tipo de información, la estadística, los documentos, noticias, todo va a la web. Los impresos seguimos haciéndolo, pero hemos ido bajando el tiraje de los impresos. Y también ha cambiado la información. Antes hacíamos todas las estadísticas y editábamos cuadros mensuales en documentos impresos, que ODEPA por ley no puede cobrar por los productos. Entonces solamente se cobraba el soporte físico, la fotocopia o lo que costaba hacer el impreso. Hoy eso se ha reducido y a los impresos están yendo a muy pocas estadísticas, documentos de análisis más que nada. Ahí los análisis todavía se hacen en impresos y se distribuyen en bibliotecas, se distribuyen. Hemos ido bajando el tiraje, por ejemplo, antes se le repartía a todos los jefes de servicio, jefes de departamento, del Ministerio de Agricultura, pero hemos ido lentamente con un proceso de consulta, retirándolo físico y reemplazándolo por el electrónico. Y hemos ido quedando cada vez con más impresos físicos en la biblioteca, y de hecho este año que licitamos nuevamente la impresión de los productos, vamos a bajar el tiraje de estos productos para destinar esos recursos a otras cosas, a otras formas de difusión. Empezamos también, bueno, hace algunos años se empezó con el SMS, este año se hizo como un relanzamiento del envío de precios por SMS, que precio es lo primero, ¿no?, que se pretende enviar. En la medida que esto vaya funcionando, se piensa en incorporar noticias y otro tipo de información a través de SMS. Pero el SMS, por ejemplo, no es un medio para documentos de análisis, es un medio para datos puntual, muy actualizado, que sea de primera importancia, y el precio es lo primero que los agricultores o los requieren, en lo que más demandan es el precio, y eso va a SMS. Y también los correos electrónicos que empezamos a mediados del año pasado, empezamos con el envío masivo de correo electrónico. Primero empezamos nosotros a generarlo artesanalmente, una persona hacía un listado en el mismo Outlook o cualquier programa, y a medida que esto fue prendiendo y fue vendiéndose el producto, ya pasamos a un servicio más profesional. Hay una empresa que se encarga de distribuir masivamente los correos. Solamente uno le envía a la lista de personas el correo, y ellos se encargan de enviarlo, se encargan de que si rebotan lo envían de nuevo, te mandan la estadística de cuánto lo abrieron, todo eso. Pero ya se hace inmanejable. El correo electrónico en este momento ha sido un producto que va, una forma de difusión que va creciendo. Y también a través del correo electrónico nosotros estamos enviando simplemente links. Y comenzamos enviando adjuntos, pero el adjunto tiene un problema de peso, tiene un problema de rebote, y en este momento solamente enviamos links a las secciones específicas de la página web, de manera que la persona le llega al correo, hace el link y baja el documento, ve la sección específica que quiere ver. Y bueno, más adelante voy a mostrarle algún ejemplo de lo que estamos haciendo en el correo electrónico. La estadística, nosotros tenemos un sistema de hace bastante tiempo, que son consultas en línea directamente a la base de datos. Nuestros reporteros de mercado, cuando ingresan los datos, lo ingresan a través de un software directamente a la base de datos. Ellos ingresan sus planillas, todos los productos directamente, apretan un clic y eso va a la base de datos y automáticamente queda disponible en la página web. Y las personas consultan a través de una interfaz en la página web, eligen el producto, eligen el periodo, eligen si quieren el resultado diario, si quieren un promedio semanal, si quieren un promedio mensual, y se les genera la base de datos. Entonces, ahí no se ahorra la publicación, digamos, la persona que digita, al momento de digitar el dato, queda automáticamente publicado en la web y en diversos formatos. Y estas consultas han ido evolucionando. O sea, nosotros somos el departamento de computación nos soluciona los requerimientos. Nosotros le decimos, mira, queremos que tenga todos estos parámetros de la consulta, y ellos la van haciendo. Y estas consultas se van sofisticando con las mismas demandas que generan los clientes externos y las demandas que se generan internamente en ODEPA. Antes nosotros en ODEPA teníamos sistemas internos que eran a través de una intranet, donde uno consultaba las bases de datos. En este momento todos los analistas utilizan la misma web para obtener los datos, porque hemos dejado disponible todas las formas de consulta a través de la web, de manera que la misma gente de la oficina usa la web para obtener los reportes que necesita para la elaboración de artículos o publicación de datos. Esta es una sección, por ejemplo, de precios. Aquí están los rubros. Este es un diseño que hicimos el año 2009 de la página web, que hicimos un cambio importante de la página web, cambiamos todo el diseño, de lo cual aprendimos que no hay que ser tan bruscos los cambios de diseño, hay que hacerlos de a poco, porque el usuario antiguo, el que está muy acostumbrado a cómo funciona la página web, se trauma porque me mueves todo. En cambio, a los usuarios nuevos les gusta, porque la página web antigua se fue complicando mucho con la cantidad de información. Yo creo que a todos nos debe suceder lo mismo, que nuestras páginas web se recargan con datos, cuesta encontrar el dato. Nosotros consultamos una empresa, licitamos una empresa para que nos hiciera el diseño, y aquí el primer análisis que hicieron de nuestra antigua página web fue que en el portal había más de 100 links de entrada a distintas secciones. Y eso es desaconsejable desde el punto de vista técnico. Pero en nuestras páginas web, yo creo que a todos nosotros nos sucede acá, es muy difícil que con 2 clics llegues al dato. Hay que dar 2, 3, 4, 5 clics para llegar al dato, porque es mucho el volumen de información. Son muchos los cajones que tienes que abrir para poder llegar al dato. Pero sí lo que tratamos de hacer fue hacer un diseño intuitivo, de manera que con dibujos, con ideogramas, la gente se fuera guiando, menos lectura y más visual. Entonces, por ejemplo, aquí está la sección de precios, donde están por sector, los rubros. Y aquí puse como ejemplo una consulta que se llama Serie Histórica de Fruta y Hortaliza, donde, como les señalé, la persona pone el periodo de consulta, pone si quiere una serie diaria, aquí está semanal, además está mensual, pone los distintos mercados en los cuales capturamos precios, productos, variedades, si quiere especificar alguna, aquí se quiere especificarlas todas, si quiere obtenerlas todas, y calidad, lo mismo. Además aquí es muy fácil, como son procesos matemáticos, se puede poner, si lo quieren, precios nominales, si lo quieren, precios reales, con el IPC que desee, o nominales convertidos a dólares. También acá abajo ponemos notas donde está la metodología y todas las cosas que hemos encontrado importante, que es que el usuario sepa lo que está consultando. Se presiona acá y se obtiene, por ejemplo, ese reporte, que están los precios de papa en los mercados centrales de Lovallayor, precios nominales sin IVA, están por semana, variedad, calidad, el volumen, el precio mínimo, el máximo, el precio común o frecuente, como se ha hablado acá, y la unidad de comercialización. Este es el reporte semanal, pero además puede ser mensual. En la consulta calcula promedios que son ponderados por el volumen, y pueden ser anuales, con todo el detalle, digamos, de la información. Entonces el usuario tiene la libertad de consultar la información en el detalle que quiera. Esta hoja sigue más abajo y abajo se puede descargar en Excel. Y también muchas consultas tienen una aplicación gráfica que genera un gráfico que no es muy bueno, pero genera un gráfico con los datos. Esa es la forma más fácil, digamos, y que, como les digo, es la más recurrida por investigadores, por académicos, por estudiantes, por analistas. Pero hay muchos usuarios que necesitan, que les es más útil un cuadro hecho, un archivo descargable. Entonces aquí tenemos archivos descargables, las mismas estadísticas las ponemos también en archivos descargables en hoja de cálculo. Por ejemplo, en estadística agrícola, tenemos distintos, todos estos que salen con un cuadradito son porque son archivos descargables, o sea, son informes prehechos. Aquí no está la posibilidad de elegir, aquí está hecho el informe, un tipo de informe. Tenemos varios nuevos porque hemos descubierto, a medida que vemos la evaluación y las visitas, que hay muchos usuarios que les interesa este tipo de datos. El usuario de la base de datos es estable, se ha mantenido estable por el tiempo, son la misma cantidad de personas. Pero el usuario que requiere este boletín hecho aumenta en aumento. Este producto está siendo muy demandado y por lo tanto hemos seguido haciendo boletines, que le llamamos nosotros. Son boletines estadísticos con cuadros prehechos que todos los meses se actualizan, el mismo cuadro, el mismo gráfico que se agrega una fecha más. Entonces aquí pueden ver, por ejemplo, que hay varios nuevos. Uno frutícola, uno de hortaliza y tubérculo, uno de vino, que lo hemos ido agregando a nuestra parrilla de documentos. Por ejemplo, aquí hay uno, es un cuadro, que aquí está en HTML, o sea, en la misma página web, se explica un cuadro que es de producción, y más abajo también está el descargable en Excel. Aquí puse una superficie, pero...
Here you can have information on the surface, but also price. We are not analysts. We can use Excel spreadsheets, direct queries, but there's an important group of users who would like to have a PDF file. They want to print the file. And even though within our office we may wonder who is going to use this, because nobody at the office uses PDF, but some people request for a PDF file to download it and print it and take it with them, because it is more, it's easier to print a PDF file than other files. So we have prepared some PDF files and the same type of newsletters. Here, this is a statistics newsletter for tubers and vegetables, and here we collect important information on surface, prices, and foreign trade. This is a monthly newsletter, and we use a large number of tables that you can access over the internet, but we also included in this newsletter, and you can have this newsletter in PDF or in an Excel spreadsheet. Besides these publications, we also have other publications with analysis and comments, not only statistics, also news and situational reports, which address different issues concerning agriculture month by month. We have a special budget for some consultancy services. These refer to studies we publish, and we send them out in a bid, and some universities or other groups that develop studies that are of interest for us. For example, study on soil, on fertilizers. These are very thorough studies, and we place them on the web also for people to access those studies. And we also have statistics, newsletters or bulletins, and some printed publications. This is the web page. But before that, I wanted to show you the products. I downloaded some of these newsletters for you to look at them, and then I will tell you how we disseminate these products. For example, this is a consultancy, a study we outsourced on the production potential of the agri-industry sector. This is a very long study, it's several pages, and we posted it. And we always require to receive. We need to receive a PDF file of the study. We have a standard format so that the companies that carry out these studies have to follow this standard format. Usually, a large number of these studies end up as statistics products. For example, we asked some company to carry out a study on soil, and we turn this into a statistical product, and we keep updating it. Okay, this is the new design of our webpage, and
and we've changed it many times. We have added a few things, and we have added other products as well. At the beginning, we were afraid of making these changes and adding products. So we started slowly, but now we are generating many new products. But I think this is much better. And we have used different formats for this one same product. And this is okay. This is to reach a larger audience, because our target group has different needs and may need different formats. So it's okay if you put the same information in different formats. The people that use a PDF file may not use another format. So we're not afraid of doing this anymore, and this way we're generating more information, or rather with the same information we generate more products, because we can use the same data and in a newsletter, in a PDF file, in an article, a printed article, and so on and so forth. And nobody complains about this. This is a new section. We had a small number of newsletters before. Now this number has increased, and we have many newsletters per product. This is the publication section. Here we have all the analysis, not only statistics. Here you can find analysis, not only statistics. This is the news section, which we didn't have before. Short news. And here we used to publish only news from the sector, but now we have some publications, and for example, milk and other products, and we usually do this weekly. And that way we keep our audience updated on the new products that come to the market. The more dynamic your web page, the more attractive for users. So we upload up to 2 pieces of news every day. We also have a section that are not news from ODEPA, but news taken from other media in Chile who publish news on the agricultural sector. So we publish this news here, so you click here and it will take you to this news section. This is a section for consumer prices. In the menus, we replicated this. These sections are in the menus. And these are the most accessible to the public. And I learned this with the consultant that was responsible for designing our web page. And people always click here on this corner of the web page. People always do that. I don't know why, but maybe it's a visual thing, but they always click on this corner. So if you want to highlight a web page, then you should put it in this part of the web page. And some studies that we've carried out with our users, we've realized that 70 or even more, a larger percentage of people, when they access our webpage, they want to look at prices. So in the menu section, we have prices. Now, other new things in our webpage, here we have a disk section. A little history. Our old webpage you needed a login to access our web page up until the year 2008, and we received a lot of complaints from users because they would lose their login, they didn't have their password. So I think that it was a routing number that we used before. But this made things more complicated because we have to keep our registry. We used to have users needed to use their identification and card numbers, and these make things more complicated. But we changed these, and our number of users increased exponentially. But the problem we had that we didn't know who was visiting our page. So one way to find out who our users are is through our subscription service. You get in here and you enter your email, and then you receive our publication in your mail. Our next project, maybe this year or next year, we will be developing a subscription page so people can subscribe to different products on different topics. And that way we will be building our user database to know who our users are. Here we have a very simple section. You just need to enter your email and you will receive our information. These are direct links. This is another project. You receive price information in your cell phone. We started out this year. We also have the Podcasters. Podcasters is a web page service, an audio service. And we also started working with Twitter. And our webpage also have a search engine. And this was a recommendation that someone made to us. It's a good idea to have a good search engine because it makes things easier for our users. And for example, you enter a word and our search engine will upload anything that is related to that word. For example, here I put apples, and I will receive every information related to apples. Consumer prices. This is a project that refers to apples. Then there's a news piece on apples, a Congress on apples. Then you have different pieces of information related to apples. Anything that can be found over the internet on that topic. And this is a very useful tool for users. They don't want to know every bit of information that we have in our webpage. They're only interested in finding out information about a specific topic. And the webpage, we also have the SIAC, which is the customer service department, and they are responsible for receiving claims, complaints, and consultations also. We receive a lot of feedback through SIAC. Suggestions on new products and so on and so forth. We analyze all this information and we transform it into these become requirements from our users. I don't need that box. Can you take it away?
Sí. No, pero déjalo como está, porque sabes que hay otra foto atrás, así que se va a molestar. Bueno, la información a través de teléfonos celulares.
Okay, information through cell phones. We started working with the University of Chile back in 2006. And this system was relaunched in February of this year. We sent price information, wholesale prices, and daily wholesale prices through in an SMS short message. Here we have information on potato, the date, the market, the price, the variety, the frequent price, and the unit. The region with and without taxes. And the cost of this is 100 pesos, which is about 0.6 cents per message. As of February, we started disseminating this information on a daily basis, and in April, we sent 1,006 messages. We promoted this list of products, although we have more products in our system, but we began with this list of products, which are very stable products in the market, that are present in the market all year round, to see if this system would work. We have disseminated this information among farmers, and they're actually using it. They're kind of shy, but they're beginning to use it. And we had 1,006 users in April of last year. We also started to send in emails to producers with specific information. We began with milk producers. We obtained a database of producers, and we obtained their email. And first thing we learned was that it was difficult to find, to get their emails, because there are very few who use emails. So I think we obtained about 1,000 emails. It's a very difficult task to do, and many of them would tell us that they didn't have an email. So we got their emails, and we started sending them information periodically, specific information on the milk sector. This is the last message we sent. Here you have all the links with different types of information. This is from last month. There is an article from an ODEPA publication, and milk newsletter in PDF or Excel version, and more information on dairy products, consumer prices for milk, consumer prices for teas, exports. 5 news on the milk sector, dairy product sector for that month. And then we started working with the beef sector.
And greens. So bovine meat and greens. All of these emails have the goal of allowing the end user to subscribe to the service. We've had very few subscriptions. We can almost count them with the fingers of your hand, the number of subscribers. So at some point in time, we will begin this in September with milk, and then with meat. We haven't advanced because we would first like to perform a survey among the users to see if this is worth advancing or not, this project. So we don't want to be passive in this. We want to be proactive and have our users go to the website. So it's a different positioning. It's not just putting up the windowsill for people to look at the product there. It's for you to reach them, to be able to get your product out to them, to the users. In April, we sent nearly 6,000 emails of this type. This is the subscription area. It's online or electronically, where you list your email, and when the a new publication is published, you receive a sort of a message, an alert. It states that there's a new publication that is gender, employment, and remuneration or salaries in agriculture and in non-agricultural economics. So every time there's a new publication, you receive a memo or a news item that are brief. They're like this. This is what the user actually sees on their screen. Here it says 9.1% increase in agricultural employment between February and April 2011 compared to the same period in 2010. We also publish news about the different products published on the web. So if we publish something new about fruits and vegetables, it's available. We have the first bulletin available. It's something new that the user can access. The service was started in 2011, and we started with a subscription service through the website. During that same period, we began to see what happens if we had an institutional Twitter account. We just wanted to see the results of that. So tweets are short messages published on on the web, and everything is recorded or it's received. And Twitter has a multiplier effect. It's a social network where everyone interconnects with each other, and this has a replicating effect. And you can disseminate the information rather easily in that way. So what did we start publishing in Twitter? We published the following. The cost for planting wheat, rice, and corn. So this was our tweet, and then you could access the document that you need. Some documents such as this other one that was generated by an agricultural agency, so about the radiation effects in Japan. That's another tweet. Here's some examples of what we're posting on Twitter. Someone has to be in charge of doing the tweets. So every time there's a publication, we're sending out the alerts through Twitter. And people that enter Twitter, as I stated before, it's a replicating factor. So we publish information about products, news, our bulletins, news about conferences or seminars. New products is a new product that are radio interviews. We're going to go to that now, which are called Podcaster. It's a social network also. But here they are, instead of texts, we have audio messages. Our articles, for example, the journalist will work with the, we work with the communications agency that helps us disseminate these publications, and they help us do it at a radio station. They have a recording studio, so we do a short voiceover that is aired. When we think about podcaster, we think about radio. Rural areas, as we mentioned before, in rural areas, people tend to hear the radio more. Workers hear the radio often. So this is an easy way to reach the radio stations. So radio stations download information from podcaster, and Fuqua has been vital in this relationship because they will only download information that they think is interesting for their user. And since it's well recorded in a studio, it's already set because it's a good recording. So radios sometimes have problems with lack of content. So having free material that's well technically prepared, is an attractive product more than the content itself. They almost don't care what it's said. They like the fact that they have a filler for the radio station, and it's easy to download, and it's free. So it becomes part of the radio station. We started this some time ago, recently, and 2 rural radio stations are regularly downloading these podcasters. So these are 3-minute audio samples. The analyst of the section, Vitin Vinicula, wrote an article. She wrote her article, published it on the website to the people receive an alert to access the publication. Then our journalists will go and interview the analyst and ask specific questions about the publication. Then this is put on a podcast, and a story is prepared. So there are many products that we can work with from one single product, disseminate a product from as many media sources as possible, and not traditional media. So podcasters, here's an interview with the pod director. He's speaking about agricultural insurance. He's explaining what is agricultural insurance. This is information that could be interesting to farmers. It's on the podcaster and duplicated and downloaded by radio stations. How about costs for grains, where the analyst explains what the topic is about and tells the farmers in simple lay terms why it's important to know the cost of wheat. The specialist from the office that works with labor issues spoke about the postnatal law, how it could be beneficial to people who work out in rural areas and field. Products such as SMS are promoted. There's an audio that explains how it works, how SMS works. And in this manner, people can have access to information not only through Podcaster, but also users can download the information if they, as we mentioned, the radio stations can download this and add it to their programming schedule.
Herramientas, estos sitios web, estos servicios que hay de redes sociales.
The social networks also give you a sort of statistical service, which is rather basic, but at least it's some sort of information, and it's perfected. Podcaster will tell you how many people download these stories, what are the most downloaded items through this graph. This is a graph reflecting through time what's the growth of downloads, or how downloads are being used. This is YouTube. We use the same article to produce video. So from one article you prepare not only audio but video. And a specialist will explain what his or her article is about. In this case, it's about dairy. Victor, who wrote the article, is explaining in his own words what his article is about, how the dairy sector is doing, what the milk sector is doing, and perspectives. So this is a very short video, and it's posted on the web. The person can download the article, the audio, and the video. So there's an Odepa section where all the videos that we produce are published or posted. We have two more. These are videos where we actually, right now we only publish articles on YouTube. Here we've also used FUCOA, the Agricultural Communications Foundation. They help us with their cameras. They will film or tape the specialist explaining what his article is about, or her article is about. These different media, email, podcast, or YouTube, finally they all point to the same direction, our website. And here is the number of hits on our website from January 2007 through April 2011. You can see how it's been increasing, and year to year we have goals that we always exceed because this is a growing mechanism. We've seen that the dissemination of information through different channels, especially when we run the risk of duplicate information, will lead to more visits to the site. And information is replicated and multiplied. So we've added new information, we've become more popular as we have new ideas to disclose information. This is another graph. It shows that it's not only enough to show the information. We need statistics to see what are the areas that are most visited. That way you can take decisions about what to do, what sections should be strengthened. So, for example, we can see the documents that are in blue, PDF documents, and that our database is the red line. And I mentioned this before, databases are pretty stable. The number of hits are stable. The database user, which are basically analysts, do grow, but it's a very stable target audience. However, during this period, during September, we always have a rise in our information peaks due to harvest time. So, as I mentioned beforehand, we continue to elaborate bulletins and statistics in Excel because they are widely read. They have a larger target audience than the database, which is, as I mentioned, a stable audience.
Productores. En cambio, estos otros productos que son los PDF, los Excel, tienen un público mucho más amplio.
So he was repeating that the Excel spreadsheet is widely used by the public. The database is more a stable audience. And here we can see another graph. As you can see, the more important sections are statistical. And 2010 is green, 2009 red, 2008 blue. And statistics is what's grown the most. And markets and classification or areas have grown. Market news are stable, and there's a reduction, but elaboration of statistics and static formats that one would think that they're less useful are quite the opposite. Users seem to have a hunger for information, so it seems that a graph or a table is much more useful in the end. It's important to have good statistics for your website if you're going to base your decisions on how many hits you receive. The decisions that we've taken are based on a monthly follow-up of our website hits. In this manner, we can respond and strengthen these dissemination, the areas that we want to disseminate. Now let's move along to the customer contact, topic of customer contact. We have an annual survey through which we call and send an email out to different users, users that are registered through our database, through our SIAC, SIAC users, and producers. These are customer satisfaction surveys. We classify and we find out who our users are. For example, this is from 2010. These are the customers or clients who went to the website by age group. So the most of the individuals that went to our website were youngsters, 32 to 40-year-olds. Here we have or 18 to 29-year-olds. Here we had 40-year-olds followed by 18 to 29-year-olds. Here we have a website for DEPA by region, and 41% by activity. Professional activities, professionals, 36%. The educated target audience is the group that tends to visit our website more often. We are attempting to prepare products directly for the producers. but our numbers are always 7%, 8% for our farmers. This year, it's 19%, so we're doing something right. And so we're trying to definitely aim our efforts at farmers. Target, have a target audience directly tied to the producers. So to have the producers as a target audience. And we also have an academic sector, and students, they are always stable users of the website. Our website also has a very high satisfaction level or response. 69% say they're satisfied, 21% state they're very satisfied. We have good satisfaction indicators as a result.
Nosotros contrastamos eso, podemos decir ya, tenemos buenas calificaciones.
But here we have good qualifications. We are reaching an increasingly larger number of farmers, but there's still a lot of work to do. Those who use our webpage are usually users with a high level of education, young people from the metropolitan area, but the reality of farmers in Chile, as in other Latin American countries, is quite different. This comes from the agricultural census, and here we included some related questions. For example, with regards to the use of computers by farmers, 93% of those farmers do not use computers. 7% use this computer, 3% in the farm, and 4% out of the farm. The main problem we have in the rural sector is that internet coverage is very low, almost non-existent. In the most populated areas, they do have internet coverage, but if you go to other rural areas, no coverage. And the same happened to us with SMS. This year, we carried out some studies after a consultancy and to see what we needed to do to identify the needs of rural producers, and we found out that cell phone coverage was not as we thought it would be. If you go to the most remote rural areas, there is no coverage at all. So we need to expand coverage, but that is not up to the agricultural sector. It depends on a private investment. Currently, there is an initiative supported by the government to expand coverage, but to expand coverage to the rural areas, this is more expensive, and it is out of our control. The same goes for internet use, 94%. This is for year 2007. Things have improved a little bit, but 94% did not use internet in 2007. Another study performed in 2010, it's a survey to annual crop producers such as wheat, barley, oats. We asked them what media they used to get their information from, and 36% said other producers, so they were speaking to other producers to get their information. 16% through technical assistant. 23% don't use any information source. 2% uses internet. 8% radio. 8% agricultural publications. This is the crude reality that we're now facing in our efforts. So we are making progress through the web, but there's still a lot of ground to cover when it comes to rural farmers in the rural areas. In Chile, internet is not the most suitable way to reach farmers. So this is a challenge we face now. How can we reach the small-scale producers? Because that is our main user. That should be our main customer. So we're carrying out studies to identify needs. We want to know who requires local information, because they don't need the regional information as much as they need local information and updated information also. That is very important to us. They need forecasts. They need us to tell them what the price of potato will be next year. That is what they need. They need us to use simple terms, simple language. in lay terms. That is some of the things that we think that they need. And also the media, we are going back to print in some newsletters. We had reduced the number of printed documents, but now we are printing about 1,200, and we were thinking of going down to 200 and 300 and generate other printed products with the resources. It would be a very short newsletter with very precise information of interest to farmers. We need to generate a new product, and we need to disseminate this information through regional media. We also need to deliver training on the use of the digital information. And there's an external factor. It's very difficult to change this, which is investment in expanding internet and phone coverage in rural areas. This is very important for us, because it would help us reach farmers. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you, Bernabe, for your presentation. We will now have a 15-minute coffee break, and then we will be back to begin our Q&A period.